Good afternoon or good evening, my loyal subjects. My name is MiAh the King, and today we're taking a look at a game called Far Changing Tides that released on Steam just a couple of hours ago. Now, if you don't know, this is actually the second game developed by these people. The first one was called Far Loan Sales. Both games are fairly similar, but we'll get into that a bit later. Also, I want to apologize for how long it's been since I put out a video. There haven't been any games that I've really been that interested in or thought that I was qualified enough to review, so I chose not to rather than give you guys either a half-assed review or misinformation. Also, I've been having a really bad day today, so if my review is a bit off, I apologize. It might be swayed a little bit by the horrible day I've been having. But, for now, all you need to know is that the game was developed by Okamotive and published by Frontier Foundry, and that, yes, these are those same people who made Far Loan Sales, in case I haven't made that clear. The Steam store page describes the game as follows: an atmospheric vehicle adventure that follows the emotional journey of a boy and his ship as he embarks on a voyage to find a new home. Now, I don't really know how well to trust that Steam description. It's very vague and tells you almost nothing about the game, but in an also very weird way, it also tells you pretty much all you really need to know. So if you don't know, or if you haven't been following me for years, then you won't know that I did a video on Far Loan Sales when it came out way back when, and with that game I was highly disappointed, even though the majority of people really liked it. That game charged you $20 when it first came out, and the game only lasted about 2 hours. Maybe a little bit more. I believed it to be a complete ripoff. While I mostly had good things to say about it, it was still very much overpriced at the time. Luckily they have lowered the price since then, but still it wasn't exactly a good experience for me. The game, like I said, was only like 2 hours long, and I don't care how good the graphics are or how amazing the sound design is, you're going to charge me $20, I deserve at least 4 hours of gameplay. So, first up, I'm going to go into the positives because those are what stuck out to me first. Number one for the positives was the graphics. Now, I just love the artistic style here. I love the detail, just like in the first game. But is it an improvement? Not really. It's pretty much almost exactly the same as the last game. It's probably a little bit better, but not enough to warrant, a big notice. I mean, you could consider that good or bad, whether it's like the first game or not, but I just find it a little bit lacking. They do have a different technique here. They are doing different stuff by adding a whole new lot of stuff in there, but overall, the art style, is still pretty much a little bit off. But, the game's art style is still just as beautiful and thematic as it was, back then, and it fits the theme and overall idea of the game perfectly, so technically, it's still really nice. It's just not that much of an improvement over the last one. Number two is the music. I would say the sound effects as well, but there just aren't really a whole lot of those, so it's hard to judge. What is there is pretty good, but mostly you're going to be listening to music the whole time. And just like the first game, the music is still really good. I mean, it perfectly draws you in, it helps you zone out, but in a good way, and it really sets the tone for what you're doing. It pulls you in, it makes you feel stuff. Overall, I greatly enjoyed all the music that this game was offering me. Number three, the gameplay and the overall idea. I combined these two because I don't really have a lot to say about each of them individually, but the gameplay is smooth, easy to understand, and it all makes sense and plays very well. The overall idea is still wonderful, a lone traveler in an abandoned, forgotten world destroyed by some catastrophe. You find whatever you can so you can keep pushing onwards. The point of this game is the journey, not the destination or the lore, so as long as the journey is fun and engaging, then the game has made its point. But, unfortunately, that's all I gotta say for the positives of this game. There's not a whole lot more I can pick out that really were just, awe-inspiring. Now, before I go into the negatives, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys out there watching my video could please be kind enough to support my Kingdom of Nothing by subscribing, hitting the like button, or leaving me a nice comment. It really helps me out a lot, and it only costs you a few seconds of your precious, valuable time. Thank you. Now, on to the negatives. Just like the first game, the first negative I have is the price. I'm not exactly sure how long this game will be. I've heard it's 4 hours, I've heard it's 6 hours, but if I had to bet on their track record, I'd say it's not going to be very long. I can't play the whole game and be fast enough to give you guys my first impressions review, so for now I'm betting on the game maybe being longer than the last one, but still, with no voice acting and no unique gameplay mechanics or length or script, it's really hard for me to still justify this price. While the game looks amazing and sounds amazing, I don't feel that for this game that it should cost $20. I mean, that's my own personal opinion, so take it or leave it, but it looks good, it sounds good, great, but there's more to a video game than looks and sound. And maybe it's the allure, maybe it's the mystery. I'm not quite sure why. It could also just be, pricing in different countries for, development and stuff they got to buy to make the game. You know, they could be just making their money back, and that's why they have to charge so much. But in my personal opinion, I feel like $20 is just a bit much for a game that doesn't really offer you anything more than something pretty to look at and listen to. Number 2, the gameplay functions are fun and fine, but overall the gameplay throughout the game while you're playing it is boring. So I guess you could say that the gameplay is both in the pros and the cons today. I mean, for most of the game, you're going to just be sitting around doing this. Nothing. Doing nothing but enjoying the scenery and the music. That's barely a game. I mean, it's okay, I guess. I mean, it is supposed to be a chill, simple, sit back and enjoy little game about a destroyed world, but it's still kind of boring just sitting there waiting for your ship to get to the next area or the next puzzle. It's a very slow moving game, so I guess that's probably where the boredom is coming from. But, I mean, at least it will offer me more than the last game did. The last game was pretty much just a big, Jawa sandcrawler, going from one part of the desert to the other, boring as hell. But this one offers to take you underwater and to show you a whole new world that's been flooded, so at least it has the potential of having better scenery. But in the beginning, it's just very boring, and it's probably going to stay boring if you don't want to just sit there and watch. If you do, then you'll probably enjoy it. But otherwise, if you're actually looking to do something here, it's going to be few and far between when you're actually doing something. Number 3, the game doesn't really teach you enough. It didn't show me how to put my sails down, and it didn't tell me that this repair device is in fact a repair device. I had to find that out for myself. It doesn't really tell you much about anything except how to move, jump, and dash. It doesn't really differentiate the whole jumping only near things, so you'll be pushing the spacebar to jump when you can't, and it just makes you dash. So for the first hour or two, you're going to be scrambling around trying to figure out how to just do basic things, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense even for this setting. I mean, it's not like the kid doesn't know how to jump. So, it's just a little bit odd to me, but again, that's just my opinion. So, honestly, those are the only negatives that I could really think of, and quite honestly, they aren't even really all that bad. Now, since I haven't played the game to completion, I can't tell you, in detail about the length or the ending or the story or if it even has one. What I can tell you is what I hope is and what I hope isn't there, based on my experience with their last game. See, for a game like this, it would take you a very long time to learn anything or get anywhere. We're talking several hours. But I don't have that time, you don't have that time, so I wanted to put this video, and not only that, I wanted to put this video out so that you guys would be able to take a look at it and find out if this game is worth it or not fairly early on, so that way you guys can start enjoying it or move on to the next. But honestly, it's really hard for me to tell. I mean, if the length and level of lore in this game is as bad as the last game, then I'm going to be very disappointed overall, let me tell you. But I will say this, the game has a very strange allure to it, to me. I do want to go back in and keep playing. I want to find out more about the world. My mic is shuffling a little bit. That sucks. Sorry about that. It's not doing what I want it to do. I got a new mic, which is probably why I sound weird. I'm still fiddling with it to try to make it work, and it's doing stuff it's not supposed to be doing. And you don't care about this. You only care about the video. So I'm gonna go back to what I was saying. Point is I do want to go back in and keep playing. I do want to find out more about the world, about the ship, about the character. Is the game going to give me any of those answers? Probably not, but I'm kind of hoping they do. I know that later in this game you can go underwater, as I mentioned earlier, and you can see some really cool stuff down there, and I am kind of excited for that. The game has little puzzles that you have to solve every time your ship gets to a new area so that your ship can keep progressing, like there's something in your way and you have to push a button to move it, or there's an attachment you need to get, so you need to solve this puzzle so you can get that attachment put onto your ship. Stuff like that so you can keep moving forward. I'm sure there will be events and weather conditions and things like that that are going to happen that'll force you to make repairs or make split decisions to avoid some kind of catastrophic result. The first game did that. So honestly, for me, I'm going to keep playing, and I'm going to learn more about the game and the world, hopefully. I sincerely hope that this game is an improvement over the last one in terms of length and story. But for you guys out there, it's all up to you and based on what you're hearing and seeing now. I know that this video might be a little bit short. It's hard to see the time when I'm recording this right now. But I hope I gave you guys enough info to make a decision. But honestly, this right here, what you're watching, this is the gameplay. This is the majority of what you're going to be doing. So it could be a bit slow and boring for you, and you probably won't like the game. If you're not entertained watching it right now, then playing it's not going to be a whole lot better. I mean, sure, you'll have the music and not my annoying voice, but even so, I can't imagine that music being so amazing that it completely, replaces my annoying voice entirely. But basically what I'm trying to say is if you're looking at this right now and you're thinking, that looks kind of boring, it's pretty much going to be the exact same experience you're going to have. It's unlikely, based on their previous game, that they are going to give you the answers you're hoping to get while you're playing the game. But I could also be wrong. Regardless, it's a risk either way. A lot of people liked the other game, even though I felt a little disappointed. It's up to you guys to give this game a try. Go see other reviews. Go read other reviews. Look at it yourself. I personally think that it might be better to just watch someone else play it on YouTube rather than take that risk yourself, and I judge that solely on their last game. And I wish I had done that with the first game. But you cannot deny its amazing art style or sound design or its unique idea. But in terms of being a fun game to play, it might not check that box for you. I personally am going to keep playing it because I find the game alluring. If you find the game alluring, even now, then I encourage you to go play it yourself. And, if that convinces you, great. I'm happy for you. Enjoy the game. But it's more of an experience, less of a game, I guess is my point. So that's all I got for this video, everyone. I am going to keep playing it. So if you have any questions or concerns, let me know in the comments down below, and I will try to respond as soon as I am able. Thank you all so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you all again on my next adventure. So until then, I bid you all farewell.